6 months after the first shot was fired. The war ended with a signature. The treaty was signed on neutral ground, a space station that floated between the stars. Representatives from 100 species watched as President Do-young No put his name on the document that would reshape the galaxy. The Galactic Collective was no more. In its place rose the Galactic Federation, a true partnership of equals. No species would be classified as primitive. No world would be marked for secret destruction. No children would be sterilized without their knowledge. Admiral Una Park stood behind the president in full military dress. She had come a long way from the cargo captain who swallowed insults with quiet dignity. Now she was one of the most famous humans in the galaxy, a symbol of what happened when patience finally ran out. She did not feel proud. She felt tired. The Valathi elder approached her after the signing. He was old, his blue skin faded to gray. He had ruled his species during the war and had watched it lose everything. "Admiral Park," he said. His voice was soft. "May I speak with you?" They walked together to a viewing window. Stars stretched out before them, endless and cold. "I remember you," the elder said, "when you were a cargo captain. You came to our world many times." "I remember," Una said. "Your officials were not kind." "No, we were not." The elder was quiet for a moment. "I approved the programs that hurt your people. The sterilization. The plans for your colonies. I believed we were protecting the galaxy from a dangerous species." Una said nothing. She waited. "I was wrong," the elder said. "Not just about the facts. About everything. We looked at your world and saw death. We looked at your bodies and saw animals. We looked at your kindness and saw weakness." He turned to face her. "We never understood what we were really seeing." "What do you think you were seeing?" Una asked. "Hope," the elder said. "A species that survived impossible odds and came out believing in something better. A species that could destroy us but chose mercy instead." His voice cracked. "We called you monsters, but you were never the monsters." "We were," Una looked at the old alien. She could still feel the hate inside her. She could still remember every insult, every humiliation, every friend lost to alien cruelty. Part of her wanted to hurt this creature who had hurt her people so badly, but she was human. And being human meant choosing something better. "What's done is done," she said. "The question now is what comes next." "I don't know," the elder admitted. "My people are broken. We built our identity on being superior. Now we must learn to be equal." "That's a hard lesson," Una said. "But it can be learned?" "Humans have learned hard lessons before." The elder nodded slowly. "May I ask you something, Admiral?" "Ask. Why didn't you destroy us?" "You had the power. You had the cause. My people tried to commit genocide against yours. By any measure of justice, we deserved extinction." Una was quiet for a long time. She watched the stars and thought about everything that had led to this moment. The centuries of patience. The years of planning. The months of war. The thousands who had died on both sides. "Because then we would have become the monsters you believed us to be," she finally said. "And we refused to prove you right." The elder bowed his head. Something like tears formed in his ancient eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. "I do not deserve your mercy, but I am grateful for it." 1 year later, Admiral Una Park retired from military service. She returned to her old ship, the Endurance. It had been rebuilt twice now, once for war and once for peace. The weapon systems were still there, hidden behind cargo bay doors. But they were silent now. Sojin was still her navigator. Taiho was her first officer. They flew cargo routes again, but things were different now. When they docked at alien stations, no one made them use the garbage airlock. No one spat at their feet. No one called them savages. Some aliens still looked at humans with fear. That was fair. Humans had shown what they could do when pushed too far. That fear would take generations to fade, but other aliens looked at humans with something else: respect, wonder, hope, on a colony world that had been ravaged by war. Human engineers worked alongside Velathy builders to rebuild cities. Human doctors trained alien medics. Human teachers opened schools where children of all species learned together. Yuna visited one of those schools. On a cargo run, she stood in the doorway and watched small human children playing with small Velathy children. They were laughing. They were sharing toys. They did not know they were supposed to be enemies. A human soldier stood guard nearby. He was young, with a kind face and a rifle at his side. He watched the children with soft eyes. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he said when he noticed Yuna. "It is," she agreed. "My grandmother told me stories about the old days," the soldier said, "when humans were treated like animals, when we had to hide our strength and swallow our pride." He looked at the playing children. "I'm glad those days are over." "So am I," Yuna said. She returned to her ship that night. The Endurance lifted off and headed for the stars. Behind her, the colony world glowed with light, a small dot of warmth in the cold darkness of space. Sujin looked up from her console. "Where to next, Captain?" Yuna smiled. It was a real smile now, not the careful mask she had worn for so many years. "Anywhere," she said. "Everywhere. The galaxy is different now. Let's see what it has to offer." The Endurance flew on, a small ship in an endless universe. But it carried something precious. It carried the hope of a species that had survived impossible odds. A species that had been pushed to the edge of extinction and had pushed back. A species that had learned the hardest lesson of all. True strength was not in destruction. It was in the choice not to destroy. The galaxy had finally learned what Deathworlders really were. And they would never forget. 3 weeks into the war, the galaxy was breaking apart. Species that had been loyal to the collective for thousands of years were now sending messages to Earth. They wanted peace. They wanted alliance. They wanted to stand with the humans before the humans decided to stand against them. Counselor Hyunsu Shin sat in a chamber that had once belonged to the Collective Council. The Velathy leaders were gone now, fled to their homeworld or captured by human forces. In their place sat representatives from 30 different species, all watching the human with fear in their eyes. "We did not start this war," Hyunsu said. His voice was calm. He had spent 20 years learning alien languages, alien customs, alien fears. Now he used that knowledge to build something new. The collective tried to destroy us. They failed. But we do not want revenge. We want something better. A Mirathi delegate raised a trembling hand. "What do you want from us?" "Equality," Hyunsu said simply. "We want to be treated as partners, not as animals. We want our colonies protected, not poisoned. We want our children to grow up in a galaxy that respects them." The delegates looked at each other. For thousands of years, they had followed the collective's lead. They had looked down on humans because they were told to look down on humans. Now they were learning that everything they believed was a lie. "And if we refuse?" the Mirathi asked quietly. Hyunsu smiled. It was not a threatening smile, but somehow that made it worse. "Then you will be alone when the next crisis comes. And there will always be another crisis. The galaxy is a dangerous place." He leaned forward. "We are offering friendship. Real friendship. The kind the collective never gave you. But the offer will not last forever." Far from the diplomatic chambers, General Ariam Kong faced a different kind of crisis. She stood in the ruins of a Velathy military base, looking down at Badas. Not alien Badas, human Badas. Her soldiers had found a prison where humans had been held for experiments. The prisoners were dead now, killed by Velathy guards before the base fell. One of her soldiers, a young man named Kiwu, stood over a Velathy prisoner. The alien was injured but alive. Kiwu held a pistol to its head. "They killed children," Kiwu said. His voice was shaking. "They cut them open to see how we worked. They deserve to die." Ariam understood his anger. She felt it herself, burning in her chest like fire. These aliens had done terrible things to her people. Every instinct told her to look away, to let Kiwu have his revenge. But she was a general. She was responsible for more than just this moment. Put the weapon down, she said. General, that is an order. Kiwu's hand trembled. Tears ran down his face. For a long moment, Ariam thought he would pull the trigger anyway. Then he lowered the gun. We are not them, Ariam said, walking to his side. We do not kill prisoners. We do not torture. We do not become the monsters they believed us to be. She put a hand on his shoulder. Our strength is not just in our weapons. It is in our souls. If we lose that, we lose everything. The Velothi prisoner looked up at her with wide eyes. He had expected death. He had expected torture. Instead, he found something that confused him far more than cruelty would have. He found mercy across the galaxy. Medic Sunwoo Jang was proving the same point in a different way. His field hospital was set up on a world that had seen heavy fighting. Humans and aliens lay side by side on medical beds. Sunwoo treated them all. He did not ask what species they were. He did not ask whose side they had fought on. He only asked where it hurt. A Velothi soldier watched him work with amazement. The alien had lost an arm in the battle. A human medic had saved his life, then given him the same care he would give a human patient. Why? The soldier asked. Why do you help me? Sunwoo was stitching a wound closed. He did not look up. Because you are hurt. Because I can help. That is enough. But I fought against you. I would have killed you if I could, I know. Sunwoo finished the stitching and finally met the alien's eyes. And tomorrow you might fight against us again. But today you are my patient. Today I will make sure you live. News of the field hospital spread. Aliens saw footage of human doctors treating wounded enemies. They saw human soldiers sharing food with hungry civilians. They saw mercy where they expected massacre. The collective had told them that humans were savages. The truth was far more complicated. Then came the moment that almost destroyed everything. The collective's remaining leadership made one final desperate move. They launched a planet-killer weapon at Earth. It was a device designed to crack a world in half, to burn the atmosphere and boil the oceans. Human ships intercepted it in deep space. They used gravity technology to tear the weapon apart before it could reach its target. Earth was saved, but the attack changed everything. President Do-Yun-No addressed the human species that night. His face was tired. His voice was heavy. They tried to kill our home, he said. Our mothers and fathers, our children, our memories. They wanted to end us completely. Around the galaxy, humans watched. And they waited. Some say we should respond in kind. Some say we should burn their worlds as they tried to burn ours. He paused. The silence stretched. But we will not. Not because we are weak. Not because we cannot. But because we are human. And being human means something. It means we do not destroy innocent lives for the sins of their leaders. It means we hold ourselves to a higher standard. His eyes hardened. But make no mistake. The ones who gave this order will be found. They will be tried. They will face justice. And the galaxy will learn that attacking Earth carries a price that no species will ever want to pay again. The hunt for the collective leadership began that night. They had made their final mistake. And humans never forgot. The first battle lasted 11 minutes. The Velothi Third Fleet was the pride of the collective. 200 warships. 50,000 crew members. They had conquered 12 species and never lost a single engagement. Pilot Yoonji Yoon and her squadron destroyed them before lunch. Her ship was small and fast. The aliens called human fighters coffins because they were built so tight that pilots could barely move inside them. What the aliens did not understand was that humans did not need comfort. They needed speed. Eung pushed her ship through maneuvers that would have killed any other species. She pulled turns at forces that crushed organs and cracked bones. Her body screamed in pain. She ignored it. Deathworld biology had made humans tough. Deathworld stubbornness made them tougher. Reaper Squadron, she said into her communicator, target their command ships first. Cut off the head. Her squadron followed. 12 small fighters against 200 warships. It should have been suicide. But human weapons did not follow the rules that aliens understood. The gravity bombs hit first. They created tiny points of infinite weight that pulled ships apart from the inside. Velothi warships crumpled like paper. Metal screamed. Reactors exploded. In seconds, 30 ships were gone. Then came the light skip missiles. They did not travel through space. They skipped over it, appearing inside enemy ships without warning. The Velothi could not shoot what they could not see coming. By the time the alien admiral understood what was happening, his fleet was already dying. Fall back. He screamed into his communicator. Fall back to the homeworld. But there was nowhere to fall back to, on the ground. Sergeant Major Junho Kwan led his Ghost Division through the corridors of the Collective's main communications hub. They moved in silence. They killed in silence. The aliens they encountered never saw them coming. The Velothi guards were tall and had 4 arms. They carried plasma rifles that could burn through steel. They were trained soldiers who had never lost a fight. They had never fought humans before. Junho moved through them like a shadow. His combat knife found gaps in armor. His hands found pressure points. He killed with the efficiency of a species that had been hunting for 1,000,000 years. His team secured the communications center in 4 minutes. We're in, he reported to Admiral Choi. Send the package, came the reply. Juno uploaded the files. Every secret the Collective had ever kept about humans. The sterilization programs, the planned genocide, the centuries of lies and manipulation. The data went out to every species in the galaxy, to every news system and every government channel. The truth could not be hidden anymore. In orbit above the Velothi homeworld, Captain Una Park stood on the bridge of a ship that used to haul cargo. The Endurance had been rebuilt. Her cargo bays were now weapon bays. Her engines had been upgraded with technology that made Collective scientists weep. Una was not a captain anymore. She was a weapon. The Velothi fleet is requesting permission to surrender, Sujin reported. Teho looked at Una with hungry eyes. They don't deserve mercy, he said. Not after what they did. Una thought about the official who had spat at her feet. She thought about years of insults and humiliation. She thought about the children on distant colonies who would never have children of their own. Accept their surrender, she said. Teho stared at her. Captain, we are not them. Una's voice was hard. We fight because we must. We kill because we must. But we do not become monsters. That is what separates us from the creatures who tried to destroy us. The Velothi admiral was brought to her bridge in chains. He was the same species as the official who had called her a savage. He looked smaller now, afraid. You will be treated according to the rules of war, Una told him. You will have food, water, medical care. You will face trial for your crimes, but you will not be tortured. The admiral looked at her with confusion. Why? We would not have shown you the same mercy. I know, Una said. That's the point. Across the galaxy, the same scene repeated itself. Human forces struck with devastating power, but they did not slaughter. They destroyed military targets. They captured leaders. They freed prisoners. And then they stopped. The Collective had expected savagery. They had expected revenge. They had expected humans to be the monsters they had always believed them to be. Instead, humans were something far more terrifying. They were controlled. They were precise. They were angry, but their anger had a purpose. Yunji landed her fighter after destroying 50 ships. She climbed out of her cockpit with blood running from her nose and ears. The G-forces had nearly killed her. She would need days to recover. We won, her wingman said. Yunji looked at the burning sky. Somewhere up there, the remains of the Velothi fleet drifted in the void. She had killed thousands today. She felt no joy about it. We survived, she corrected him. That's what we do. Sergeant Major Junho stood in the communications center, watching the galaxy learn the truth. On 100 worlds, aliens were seeing the evidence of collective crimes. Some were horrified. Some were angry. Some were already sending messages to Earth asking for alliance. The Collective had tried to kill humanity in secret. Humanity had exposed them in public. Now the whole galaxy knew what kind of creatures had been ruling them. The storm was just beginning. But already, the shape of victory was clear. Humans would not just survive this war. They would change the galaxy forever. The galaxy noticed the silence on the third day. Human cargo ships stopped flying. Human workers did not show up to their jobs. Human diplomats left their offices without a word. Across 10,000 worlds, humans simply stopped. The collective council was not worried. The Velathy ambassador laughed when the topic came up in the morning session. "They are having a tantrum," he said. "Like children. They will come back when they get hungry." The other council members agreed. Humans were emotional creatures. Primitive. They would calm down soon enough on Earth. Admiral Dongwon Choi stood in a room that did not exist. It was buried 3 kilometers under the surface, hidden from every sensor the collective had ever built. The walls were covered with screens showing ship positions, fleet movements, and weapon systems that aliens believed were impossible. "How long until we're ready?" he asked. Dr. Marihan looked up from her console. She was small and tired, with gray streaks in her black hair. She had spent 40 years building weapons in secret. 40 years of pretending to be a simple researcher while creating humanity's revenge. "The Prometheus systems are online," she said. "Gravity bombs, light skip missiles, neural disruptors." She paused. "We can end their fleets in hours." Admiral Choi nodded slowly. He was an old man now. He had been young when he first realized the truth about the collective. He had been young when he started building the Human Defense Force in secret. Now he was old, and the day he had prepared for had finally arrived. "What about our people on alien worlds?" he asked. "Sleeper cells are activated," Dr. Han said. 300 years of humans living among aliens, working in their stations, learning their weaknesses, mapping their defenses. She allowed herself a small smile. "They never watched us closely. They didn't think we were smart enough to be dangerous." On the collective homeworld, Ambassador G.A. Beek walked through marble corridors toward the council chamber. She wore her finest diplomatic robes. Her face was peaceful. Her heart was ice. For 20 years, she had smiled at creatures who despised her. She had negotiated with beings who saw her as less than an animal. She had played the role of the humble human, grateful for any scrap of respect. Today was her last day as ambassador. The council chamber was full when she arrived. Representatives from 100 species watched her enter. Most looked bored. Some looked annoyed. None looked afraid. That would change. "Ambassador Beek," said the Velathy council leader, "have you come to apologize for your species' behavior?" Da walked to the center of the chamber. She stood straight and tall. She looked at each council member in turn. "For 300 years," she began, "humanity has been part of this collective. We came to the stars with open hands and hopeful hearts. We wanted to learn. We wanted to share. We wanted to be friends." The council members shifted in their seats. This was not the apology they expected. "You taught us many things," J.A. continued. "You taught us that kindness is seen as weakness. You taught us that mercy is seen as stupidity. You taught us that no matter how hard we work, no matter how much we give, we will never be seen as equals." Her voice grew harder. "You poisoned our children. You planned to destroy our worlds. You treated us like animals while smiling to our faces." The council leader's forearms twitched. "Ambassador, these accusations are proven." GA held up a data chip. "We have your orders, your medical records, your secret plans. Every species in this galaxy will receive this information within the hour." Silence fell over the chamber. Real silence. The kind that comes before storms. "We came to the stars seeking friendship," J.A. said. "You taught us that some species only understand one language." She looked at the council leader directly. "We did not want to speak that language. But you left us no choice." She turned and walked toward the exit. At the door, she stopped. "You called us Deathworlders," she said without turning around. "You meant it as an insult. But you were right. We come from a world that tried to kill us every single day. We survived earthquakes, hurricanes, ice ages, predators, plagues. We survived everything our planet could throw at us. And we came out stronger. She finally turned. Her eyes were cold. You should have been afraid of us. You should have been very afraid. Instead, you made us angry. She smiled. Good luck. She walked out. The doors closed behind her. In the silence that followed, the first reports started coming in. Human ships across the galaxy were powering up weapons systems. Not small weapons, not defensive systems, weapons that could crack planets, weapons that could tear holes in space, weapons that the collective's best scientists said were physically impossible. The council leader's blue face went pale. Send the fleet, he ordered. Send everything. Stop them before the lights flickered. Every screen in the chamber went dark for a moment. When they came back on, they showed the same thing, a human face. Admiral Dongwan Choi looked out at the council with the calm expression of a man who had already won. You have 1 hour, he said, to surrender. After that, we will do what humans do best. He leaned forward. We will survive. And you will not. The screens went dark again. Across the galaxy, human ships began to move. 300 years of waiting was over? The storm had arrived.